Okay, spot revision on averages and spread. The averages on here are the mean, the median, and the mode. And then the lower quartile, upper quartile, and the interquartile range, those are kind of to do with measures of spread. Okay, the lower quartile and upper quartile are positions in the data, just like the median is. But the interquartile range is a very similar idea to the range. It's to do with spread. So let's work through each one of these one at a time. I won't do them in the order they appear on the board. I'll do them in a slightly different order. I'll do them from easiest to most difficult, I think. The mode should be the easiest one for us to find because the mode is the thing that occurs the most. The thing that occurs the most on that list looks like the number 6, which appears 3 times. So in this case, the mode is 6. You can see here it appears 3 times. The only other thing that appears more than once is the 12s here, the 15s here. So that's the mode, the easiest one to do. The next easiest one to do, I would argue, is the median. The median is the middle value. Now, really important, the list needs to be in order. If that list is not in ascending or descending order, then the median isn't the middle. It's only when you put them in order. So that's really important. I gave you the list in order, so we need to find where the middle is. Now you could do this like a primary school child crossing off one from each end, but that's not going to help you at higher GCSE. The thing that we need to do when we're working out the median is we need to use this idea of n plus 1 over 2 there. That's how you find the middle. If you have a large data set and you need to find the middle, then that's going to be helpful for you. So we count how many items there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 items. So n is the number of items in the list. So we're talking about 15, add 1, and half it. Okay, 15 plus 1 is 16, half of it is 8. This means we're looking for the 8th value. The 8th value in the list, we can now find 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. This one is the median. So, median is here in the middle. The 8th value, and in this case it is 10. I would argue now that the lower quartile, upper quartile, and interquartile range are the next easiest things to find because they are just positions in the list. So for the lower quartile is 1/4 of the way through the list. It is 1/4 of the way through. The way to find it is you do 1/4 of n plus 1. So that finds you 1/4 of the way through the list. As before, n is the number of items in the list, in this case 15. So what we're going to do is we're going to look for the 1/4 of 15 plus 1. So 1/4 of 16. This becomes the 4th value in the list. 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. This value is the lower quartile. It is 1/4 of the way through the data set. So in this case, the answer is 6. In the same way for the upper quartile is 3/4 of the way through the list, 3/4 of the way through the data set. For this one, we do 3/4 n plus 1. So that's going to be 3/4 of 15 plus 1. So in this case, it's going to be 3/4 of 16. That's the 12th value. So the median was the 8th. This is the 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. The 12th value, the upper quartile, 3/4 of the way through that list, the answer to that is 14. Okay, that is the upper quartile. To work out the interquartile range, it is the distance between the lower quartile and the upper quartile. The inter-quartile range. We use the letters I, Q, R for inter-quartile range. It is simply the upper quartile take away the lower quartile, which is in this case 14, take away 6, which is 8. So our inter-quartile range, the range between the quartiles, the distance between the lower quartile and the upper quartile, is in this case 8. A very simple thing to do. The final thing to work out here is the mean. And the mean, one way of remembering it, mean is the most difficult thing to work out. It's really mean. It makes you do all the hard work. Okay? In this case, the mean is about adding up everything that's there, so adding up all of your data and dividing by how many items there are. We refer to this informally as the total divided by how many. And this is where you have to add up all of the items that are there and divide by the number of items that are there. With a calculator, this becomes really quite simple. We've got 5 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 7 plus 8 plus 9 plus 10 plus 11 plus 12 plus 12 plus 14 plus 15 plus 15 plus 20. That is the total. In this case, that total is 156. We divide by how many. That's the number of items in the list, and we said there were 15 items in the list. So 156 divided by 15 will work out the mean for us. In this case, 10.4. That's a quick bit of revision for you about all the different measures of average and spread and position in data sets that you might work out in the simplest way possible, because it starts with a list of data. We'll go on to look at how you do those things with tables, how you do it from graphs, how you do it when you're starting with all sorts of different things, but that will follow on.